You see these cards here? They are not hard-coded from HTML, but they're coming from the JavaScript array. We're going to combine JavaScript, HTML, and CSS to create this beautiful art. To get started, hit exclamation mark. It will give you a boilerplate in HTML. And then you can just link your CSS and your JavaScript. Once that is done, now we're going to jump straight to JavaScript and start creating our functions. We are going to need two functions here. The first function is going to render a product. Remember that card that was showing on the screen? Just need a name for that. We need the image and the price. These are the parameters, and the product is the function name. Then we're going to return a string. Pay attention to the type of quotations here. They are backticks. This will allow us to bind our properties in a very clean way. Here, we just need a div and give it a class of product. This would wrap our product. And then inside of a div, we need the image. You see now the source. I'm using the two quotation marks because I want it to go inside there. Then I use the $ and curly braces to bind the actual value of the image, the URL that will be passing. For the heading, we're doing the same thing. We're just using the h3 and we put the name inside. Now we can just change this for a price. Notice how I'm putting the currency before the $. Everything outside of the $ curly braces is going to be displayed as it is. It's a string. Whatever that is inside is going to take the value. Now the function is ready. We need to consume our function. So to do that, we're going to create another function and call it render. And then in this render, we're going to get a DOM element that we just created. That's div, which is the products list, right? Query selector is going to give us that. Once we have that, we want to change the inner HTML to the product. For now, let's just render one product to see if our card is working. So we have this image here. We are going to pass that as the image value. And then we're going to pass a name and the price. And from there, we should be able to test our function. We have products function, we have render function, and the render function is called link products function, and taking whatever is returned and assign it to the inner HTML. There is nothing here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we haven't called the function, so let's just call render. And this should be working now. Okay, it's still blank. Let's see what is the error. Cannot read property of null in HTML. So now that means that div was not found. You see that where is the div there on line 12? So we are going to say defer in our script. We are telling our script that only execute once the HTML is loaded. Now this is working. Defer is a very powerful keyword. It helps keep our JavaScript cleaner instead of doing the import at the end of the file. I'm sure you've seen other developers doing that. Now that our code is working, let's do some styling. We're going to reset the margin of all elements. So basically the star select all the elements in the page and set the margin to 0. We want the page to display everything in the center. The easiest way to do that is to use the Flexbox. Align item center, justify content center, make sure that the height is full screen, 100 viewport height, VH. We're going to set the background and the color to dark, just the shade of black and white. You see how nice it is? It's not the pure black, but it's just a shade of black. Visual Studio Code can help you do that easily. Now let's style the single product. Remember, we gave that product a class of products. Gonna just make the background dark blue. And then to make it feel more luxury, we're gonna give it a big padding of like 20 pixels and then give it some soft edges of like 15 pixels. Now, this should make the product looks good. Let's make sure the image is always filling the whole space it has. That's our single card. Now, we need to optimize our code to be able to display more than one card. So we are going to load these values from the array, okay? Okay, now to do that, we are going to go to our JavaScript. We're going to need the array, of course. the list of products with the image, the price, and the name. So let's do that. As you can see, I have the folder for images. I have a bunch of images there. We're going to use those for our array. Probably in real life, you will be using the database, getting this code from the DB. Soon I'll be creating the video about that. Probably we can even create our own API from scratch using PHP and MySQL database. So here is our array look like. We use square brackets to create the array, then we use the object inside like this, curly braces. Now we can just copy and duplicate this and make sure that we are using proper images and proper naming. Okay. I'm just doing this so that you get the experience of how it's really done, step-by-step experience. Just modifying few prices and making sure the names are correct. I'm just putting 3 for now, but you can put up to whatever you want. This function would be able to handle it. Okay, so now you see that's the product here. The way we're calling it, we're just passing single value for a single product. What about if we change render to take the list of products? Then we can pass the items, which is our products now. I'm using different names in purpose so that you'll see that it's just the variable name. It doesn't matter. Now we can return product.map. If you're calling a map function in an array, it returns another array. Here you can put, you get a callback function. It returns a callback function which gives you access to a product. So this P represents the product. So with this P, I have access to the name, price, and image, and I can call product, which would render it for me. Hence, you see the products here. So we're doing good. To remove the commas, I said it's returning an array. So we just need to say .join and pass the empty string. That will be converted to a string. So now we're good to go. All we need, we're going to our product container and go to our CSS to make that display better. I'm gonna just make it a Flexbox. Easy. Declare a class. Then you say display flex, and then you give it a gap. That is the space between the cards, right? Then we are good to go. Beautifully, we're